I was messing around with some of the account adjustments and got lost. My technical ineptness in this situation brought me to a crashing halt. But now I'm back. Still don't know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, I guess you just gotta go, okay. Yeah, all right. That's easy enough. Now that I know, I'm gonna put out a little short here, I think, just to captivate the moment. I'll do like a double deal. Hey everybody, Jack Powers, I'm live right now. Tune in to TimeTracker and I'll be checking in with you shortly. Just putting up a little live deal because I was late and, well, I just forgot. How's everybody doing? I think you just gotta go like that. Jack Powers, I'm live right now. Tune in to TimeTracker and I'll be checking in with you shortly. Hey everybody, Jack Powers, I'm live. Let me see if I can get this. Tune in to Boom, there it is. Yeah, so anyway, how's your week been? My week's been pretty good so far. I'm getting a little bit of a thing from lower the screen. No, the screen won't lower. There's a couple technical problems, I think. A couple of little technical problems here that I'm trying to get a little bit of adjustment on. Oh, cool, man. Cool. Safeway's not a bad place to work, right? That ain't too bad of a spot, is it? Safeway will work. Oh, man. Maybe they'll let you, like, sample some of the fruit or produce. Yeah, no, I mean, a job is a job, man. I mean, it's, especially when you're caught up in the, especially when you're caught up in the situation you're in there with the halfway house and so forth. That's not a bad idea, though. Get out, make a little money. I know some of it, probably a good percentage of it has to go to the halfway house, right? But, I mean, at least you'd be able to put something away and have something to do while you're spending your time there. It's, certainly a little bit of a hassle, but work is good. I mean, work is what keeps us going, right? Yeah, 25%. Work is what, it gives us something to do. I mean, it gives us, like, an activity every day or whenever we have to go to work. So work is good. What would people do without work? I mean, I know what people are doing around the country. It doesn't bode well, I don't think, for the for the state of the nation or the state of the union or whatever you want to call it. I don't think it bodes well. I think there's a lot of stuff going on, man. Like, all these big retail stores are closing and they're having this big argument about whether it's due to retail shoplifting. They call it a kind of, it's retail organized crime. And I guess it's two or more people that, conspire or act to, by fraud, theft, or other design, take goods or services in an amount exceeding like $10,000 or something like that. It becomes a felony. I don't know. But there's just a lot of stuff going on right now. It looks like with, the border being in the shape that it's in. And you can't blame people for wanting to get the hell out of Mexico and South America. Nah, I mean, Safeway is. Safeway's a great store. I don't think they're going to be closing the supermarkets like that, like they are the Walmarts. But, hey, Paul, how are you, my man? Good to hear from you. I'm hoping that YouTube will implement this new technology that gives you, like the Zoom ability. You can just come in on a Zoom and everybody can interact with everybody else. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know they've got that technology now. I'd probably be the last one actually to know how any of that stuff actually works. Because, it was just everything was just coming online when I got locked up back in the late 80s. And so, that 3 decades plus just kind of took me out of the running. I mean, I didn't have any kind of a technological background whatsoever, or any training or any exposure to it, really. I mean, they're still using the payphone that they roll up to the front of your cell. So, yeah, the kids know. But, yeah, I'm kind of concerned about everything that I'm seeing and hearing. I don't know if it's all, like, fair and balanced and everything, but it seems like there's enough reports coming from different directions to indicate to me that there's a meltdown in the United States. This is some serious shit that's going on right now, I think. You've got the exposure of law enforcement and the criminal justice system. Every day there's 4 or 5 major reports of misconduct of in any given state of their officers. Then on the other side of that, you've got these officers in Chicago and Wisconsin and a lot of different states that are being shot and killed just over minor stuff, really. Just, they're just being shot and killed. It's like open season in some places on law enforcement, and that's a very dangerous thing. I don't like that. I don't like the crisis at the border. I don't like the fact that all of these major retail stores are shutting down. Walmart, Target. They had a list of about 10 of them that were in the process. Burger King. I mean, back in my day, some of you guys will remember, but back in the day, Burger King was a big deal, right? It was at least as big, if not bigger than McDonald's. And now it's just, they're just closing up shop, closing their doors, shutting it down. Can't keep up. Some of it is just to be expected, I think. But overall, it looks like, you've got the homeless crisis, you've got the drug crisis, you've got the fentanyl crisis, you've got the Google, I know, and all these tech companies are laying off people by the tens of thousands. There's already been a couple of major bank failures that most people haven't really heard that much about, because when it comes to balancing the economy or keeping everything afloat, it's, there's a lot of bells and whistles. There's a lot of duct tape and paper clips holding this whole thing together. So they act kind of quickly to keep that to, I think, the exposure to a minimum so that it doesn't cause some kind of panic or chain reaction. But I think it's happening. I think we're in the middle, or the midst anyway, of a meltdown. Now, what that actually looks like for any of us, I don't know. I don't think it's going to change my life all that dramatically. But it could. I mean, it's certainly possible that it could change all our lives in some form or fashion, right? But not to panic or anything. Yeah, there's look. The fact is, Mexico is already melted down. It's been melted down. South America or Central America has already been pretty much melted down. There's not many countries in that area that have any real governance or I think opportunities for people to live peaceful lives. Everything's just, it's in a flux. It's in chaos. You've got such extreme violence. It's off the charts. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, if you've got an officer that's being paid like, I don't know, I'm just guessing, but 30 or 50 bucks a month, and somebody offers them 1,000 or 1,500 or something like that, well, I guess, they're probably going to go for that. And what I'm saying in a roundabout way is that everything comes down to one thing. Everything comes down to what's in the individual's heart and mind. That's what it all comes down to, is our own personal integrity as human beings. Somehow, some way, we have to find a way to improve our inner qualities so that, we can hold the line when everything else starts falling apart. At least we ourselves, for our families and for ourselves and our loved ones and friends and maybe even neighbors, innocent people that just, are just good-hearted people that maybe at some point we have to step up to the plate and help to protect them. But it's all a matter of personal integrity, where, everything that you look at, whether it's politics, politicians, judges, lawyers, cops, criminals, no matter what it is and where it is, it's all this same old grind where everybody's just chomping at the bit to, either get rich or to get high or to get some kind of power. To really, I think it's just trying to find some purpose in life, because I don't know. I think with the information age, I think more and more people have sort of come out of these little enclosed areas of life, these little solitary confinement cells that they were living in or would have been living in without the technology. And now they have all this information. They're saying, wow, man, I'm just going to work for the next 30 or 40 years, work my fingers to the bone so some group of CEOs at the top can buy a couple more islands in the Pacific. I think people are just kind of giving up on themselves. I think a lot of people are just giving up on life. What about all these, we've got this epidemic of mass shootings. People apparently they go off on a tangent. And You've got all kinds of people doing that right and left in all kinds of different places. There was a guy I think it was just a day or two ago, I was looking at it, and yeah, the whole fabric of society, which is based on the family structure, and not just the family structure, it can only be held together. The fabric of society can only be held together by good character. If you've got people who are living secret lies, if you've got people that are putting up these facades to the public, in their public lives, and then they're turning around and doing these dirty deeds under the table or behind the scenes, well, there you have a fundamental lack of integrity. You have a breakdown of personal growth and development. There's a real deficit in personal growth and development. And, it comes right back down to the individual. I mean, if you've got a family that is led by, a father and a mother, parents, whomever, that has a good, solid take on life and can lead those younger members of the family and show them by example how to live their lives, then you've got some cohesion, some coherence in that family structure. But once that's gone, once that's broken down, what do you got left? Just the unraveling of society generally. Then it's just dog eat dog. It's every man, woman, and child, really children too, for themselves. Look, the other day, just a couple days ago, I don't know if they arrest them, but they're looking for elementary aged school children got on a bus with a gun. They had hoods on and masks and everything, and they got on the bus, a school bus, with a gun and tried to kill another kid on the bus. The gun jammed on them and they had to take off. But, I mean, come on. It's when you see that it's getting down to these really violent acts against other human beings by elementary aged kids, it's certainly a signal of something that's not right in society. And I just think it all comes down to where you're at personally. Hey, country, how'd it go, man? Oh, okay. Let me know when you can. Let me know how everything came out over there at the ER. He must be moderating blood on a razor wire. But, yeah, it's really kind of everything's kind of in a flux, it looks like. And, it's certainly not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better. How'd the tests go? Did they find anything? Were they able to help you out? Yeah, I don't think any of it's going to get any better. Yeah, I mean, look what happened in Chicago. You had all of those, hundreds and hundreds of teenagers. Yeah, thanks, Fabian. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And Chad, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Chad's solid. He's solid. He's a good, solid dude and trying to do a little something, But you had all those hundreds of kids, just teenagers, that just took over the street. They just took over all the shops. Not all of them, but a good, a couple of blocks of shops in downtown Chicago, and just, looted and robbed and beat up people. And it was just a free-for-all. People are just throwing caution to the wind now. And I think we're living, that's bad to hear. Hopefully they got you on some kind of strong enough antibiotic to knock that stuff out of you. But I never did like taking the antibiotics like orally, because obviously it kills off all the good bacteria as well. But if you've got some kind of internal infection, you got to do it. I mean, I prefer, look, I've had a lot of injuries, as most of you guys know, in prison and so forth. And I always used the pink disinfectant, the pink stuff that came in the big 5-gallon jugs or the spray bottles. I mean, I would just pour a cup of it or pour some into a milk carton and keep it. And, not only is it good for cleaning the cell, but it's also, I mean, it kills any kind of an infection right off the bat. I never did take the antibiotics. I would just pour that disinfectant right on the wound, right on the site. I think it works better than going through the bloodstream. But if you've got a bloodstream infection, of course, you got to use the antibiotics orally. But yeah, we're trying to just put down a little bit of our understanding and experience with this whole thing. And sometimes life's events, they do transform you, or they are the catalyst for transformation. And it was the same for Chad as it was for me. All right, we're good deal. Yeah, all is well. All is well so far. We're just talking about the meltdown in America with all these different events going on. It's really kind of, I don't want to say overwhelming, but there's just a lot of stuff that's going on right now that's out of whack, way out of whack. And it's not going to get any better. Can't get any better. Can't. Won't. Not until there's some major shift, I don't know what it would even take. I know that it was very difficult for me to, get like shocked or jolted into a new sense of reality, or the need for changes in my own character, in my own personality. It took like major events. So, and then, I did have certain other circumstances that lined up that way and gave me an opportunity to really work on it and take a good look at myself. And, of course, I came up with the manual program for personal growth, which is something that I've been working on continuously since I've been out. And, I just finished doing the series of videos for the manual program. So when those are uploaded and we have all of our ducks in a row, so to speak, the manual course for personal growth is going to be available. And, I want to make it as widespread as possible. Not that, I know I can't change the world. I know that really the most I can do is change myself and maybe influence a few others that are around me or close to me, and possibly just put out some information here and there that maybe it resonates, maybe it hits a nerve here or there with somebody, and cause them to think a little bit or to do something different or to embrace some kind of growth within their own hearts and minds. I mean, that's the object of what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people involved in building better versions of themselves, of going inside the heart and mind and bringing out, or at least cultivating, these qualities and skills that will help them to navigate the course of their lives in a purposeful way, in a good way. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that very much. But it's, I figure this, Paul. I figure, hey, I went through all this stuff. I was just talking to my sister earlier, and I said, I went through all of this experience with the criminal justice system and all of that. And I came out after almost 33 years, and, to just pretend like it never happened. I mean, it isn't possible. I have to think that all of it happened for some reason, or at least that through that experience, I have maybe a little something to offer here or there that'll, help somebody avoid confinement, captivity. I mean, that's the real purpose in my mission, is just to help somebody avoid captivity. And I don't mean avoid it by being slicker, smarter, or a better criminal. I mean by getting away from that whole mindset, that entire mindset. Most people that I know that are diehard criminals, they don't want to be criminals. They really don't. They just don't know how to change. They don't want to be in that criminal mind. They don't want to keep doing that stuff. They really don't. They get sick of it after a while. And honestly, it's a lot more work sometimes being somebody that's going around looking for ways to get ahead by taking shortcuts than it is to just do things legitimately. Just use the same basic premises. Do things legitimately. I mean, you've got all kinds of businesses that are operating right on the margin, right on the line, but they're not over the line. They're still operating within the boundaries of the law. And, it seems to work for them. So why can't other people do that? But the greater wealth is not a monetary or a material wealth. The superior wealth is what we carry within us. It's our own selves. It's the qualities of our own hearts and minds. That's the truly superior wealth. And it's a difficult message to convey to a world or to any individual who has been exposed for all their life to this phenomena of commercialism and capital gains and, get rich quick schemes. And, you're nobody if you're not driving this or wearing this or doing this or having this. It all ties back into the value, the self-esteem that person carries around and how they've established it. I mean, if you're going to build your self-esteem on some kind of a frivolous philosophy of life, you're really not going to be very satisfied, ever. You're not. And, there's no reason why people shouldn't live satisfied lives. There's no reasons why human beings cannot live within their means and be good and decent people. There's really just no reason for it. But it's just not taught. It's not inculcated. Yeah, the great worth is who we are. It's who we are as individuals. And we don't have to have, if we have that internal wealth, that those qualities and skills and attributes and values and characteristics that help us to better navigate our lives so that we feel better about ourselves and we feel better about everything around us, the people, the circumstances, the events, and we're able to navigate the difficulties, the trials, the tribulations, and to get past those, and we can re-engage with this fundamental reconstitution of the fabric of society by engaging our families and loving our loved ones, and concentrating on what's good in the moment, what's good right now, living our best lives right now. I mean, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Everything's right with that. It's just that people don't know how to do it, and they're trying all these different things, and it's just causing more and more confusion and more chaos. So what I would like to do is I would like to just bring simple programs. If a person wants to engage, cool. If not, cool. I mean, it's free will. It's a matter of choice. Certainly I'm not going to stop promoting it, and I'm not going to stop using it. That's for damn sure, because, man, I'm going to tell you what, it's changed a lot in my life for the better, and I'm 100% sold on it. There's no way that I'm gonna stop practicing, and I know I need to keep practicing every day. I do the meditation, we do the instruction, we do meditation at night, and we generally have the manual instruction for that day, either in the early morning or sometimes at night right after the meditation. If we somehow forgot in the morning, but we've got it up on the bulletin board, and we don't forget very often. So, and it's just a 5 or 7 minute thing, right? It gives me information. It sets that information deeper into my mind, where it's like a seed. That information is like a seed. It contains the structure of it's like a vision, right? It contains the plans, the structure, the potential. And then when you cultivate it and nourish it and keep looking after it, then it begins to grow. And so, you get what you put into it. I mean, it's not gonna, in most cases, it's not gonna happen automatically. It's something that you have to put some effort into it. You have to put a little discipline into it. You have to be willing to change. You have to be willing to engage an essential transformation of your psyche, your soul, whatever you want to call it. And, that was the essential message of the ancients as well. The sages, the saints, the holy men, the bodhisattvas, the Christ, the people throughout history that other people has recognized as being among the best human beings. They all shared similar characteristics or qualities that came from within, that were developed from within. And they were able to demonstrate those and give us examples of what that looked like. Yeah. That's the trouble with all of us. I mean, Paul, we have to admit where, these elements of being made of flesh, being in effect carnal, we have these instincts, for lack of a better term, and it's animal instincts that come into play. the violence, the deception, the territoriality, if that's a word. Hey, Mike, good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Yeah, it's just, we just have to keep on keeping on. We have to keep being aware. We have to keep our focus. And like you said, Paul, we all want things like now, right? Because we really don't want to wait. We really don't want to go through the process of sometimes of doing things the right way, the correct way. And we're impatient and we're dissatisfied, and we get to a certain point of a level of frustration where we just say, "Ah, to hell with it. I'm gonna throw the towel in. I'm gonna go ahead and just break bad, or I'm gonna do this or do that, and to hell with it." And yeah, I agree, Mike. As long as our loved ones, fact is, we're all facing the same things. We're all facing basically the same things in this event that we call human life. We're all facing the same things. And the ancients knew this very well. They knew, they understood. It wasn't hard to see. It wasn't difficult for them to see that there was a need to overcome anguish and suffering and hardships and old age and even death. Many traditions felt that death itself, physical death, could be overcome. And it kind of makes sense because, if you've put in the work, and if you look at your life as a training ground instead of a playground, or instead of Disneyland, if you look at it as an opportunity and a challenge rather than a difficulty or a trial or tribulation, then things start to come out a little bit differently. You start to have far better results than you do otherwise. At least that's been my experience, and it's been the experience of the masters of ancient wisdom throughout human history. It's been their experience as well, that you can reach a certain degree of freedom. You can retrain your brain. You can overcome these habits of thought, these habits of emotion that just kick in all of a sudden and carry us away. You can overcome those. You can meet those challenges. You can retrain your brain, and you can become a better navigator. You can become a better human being. And you can do something, to essentially help yourself, help your family, your loved ones, your friends, your neighbors, maybe the community around you, maybe a little bit bigger area. Who knows? But every little bit helps, and it all starts, right here. It all starts right here, the heart and mind. It all starts in the center of our beings and how we're processing these thoughts, these perceptions, these emotions, these events. How do we perceive them? How are we processing them? If we can process them according to certain standards, certain guidelines, then we're going to come out way ahead on the other side of it. We're going to come out way ahead. We're going to be much more satisfied. No matter what, we're going to be much more satisfied with our lives and with ourselves. And when you feel more satisfaction with yourself as a man, as a human being, as a woman, as a person, you know, what else is there? Very glad to hear that, Paul. And, you know, yeah, it's just a matter of, there's not, hey, Brad, there's not, or wasn't, in my view. You know, I used to go to the prison psychologist and to the administration, the wardens and everybody, and I would say, hey, look, I want to change my life around. I don't want to be a criminal anymore. I don't want to be known as that. I don't like it. It doesn't fit me. It doesn't feel good. I don't like the results, the consequences. Pretty painful, all this that's happened. I want to change my life. I want to transform myself. What do I do? You know, they would just kind of keep their arms folded and kind of look down and, well, we don't know. There is no curriculum. There is no course. There is nothing. If you're a criminal, if you've committed criminal acts, well, you were born that way. It's genetic. It's hereditary, and nothing can be done about it. I was like, well, wait a minute. That's not right. That don't sound right. You know, people change all the time. I mean, you know, if you have the ability to make a decision, to make a choice about anything, then you have the power to change, right? So it didn't make any sense to me. And then, you know, if you do the demographics and the stats on everything, it's like, oh, wait a minute. How are some races, you know, higher percentage born to be criminals than other races? It just doesn't make any sense. So, and what about these people that never had a crime in their life, like doctors and lawyers and upstanding members of the community that all of a sudden, you know, grab a gun and shoot all their in-laws, or get in the car in a parking lot and drive over their ex-husband or wife a few times. You know, none of it made any sense. So, you know, I did have the opportunity to study, to read, to really delve into it. And I'm thankful for the yoga course that I took, the 13-year City Yoga course by the City Yoga Foundation. Very thankful that course came to me when it did. And it was like, okay, all right, it's pretty good timing right here. You know, but it was nothing that was sponsored by the prison system. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, they keep saying education, education, educate. Okay, education, but education about what? Is it education on how you can transform yourself and become a better version of yourself so that you can better enjoy your life and not be a burden on others? Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate the recommendation too. But yeah, I mean, the administration didn't have much to offer. Well, you gotta sign up for education. Okay, wait a minute. What are we talking about? Academics? Are we talking about some kind of vocational skills? What is that? I mean, the reason that the prison system started to cut back on all that stuff, the federal prison system chopped all that shit right out of the picture with a butcher cleaver. I mean, they chopped that stuff back in the 90s. They chopped all of that out because why would you want to make, in effect, smarter criminals? And that's what they, that's what their philosophy was. Their theory was, okay, if we give these guys, hey Zeus, Jesus, Zeus the Barber. You made it, my man. Thank you. But yeah, the prisons, even now with the First Step Act, they really don't even, they have some good programs now. And trust me when I tell you, a lot of those good programs have been brought in through the ADX litigation. A lot of those we in effect forced the Bureau of Prisons not only to change key policies, but to bring these programs into existence, these personal growth and development programs that are now kind of being offered. I think it's piecemeal, but the Federal Bureau of Prisons, as well as most state prison systems, are in pretty bad shape. I mean, how do you get control of it? How do you get a handle on any of that stuff, really? I mean, and do you really even want to? If you're administrators, if you're line staff, do you want to inculcate attributes and qualities and skills into the personalities of prisoners? Because isn't that going to make them harder to manage? Like, isn't that going to mean that more prisoners are going to stand up for certain things that are right and stand against certain things that are wrong? Isn't that going to make it more difficult? All those changes are kind of scary sometimes. So I think prison staff and administrators, they just kind of want to go along to get along. And, a lot of their management over the years has been, same way they work in Mexico, right? With the cartels. Let's go ahead and pit this one against this gang, and these people against these people. And, we'll just keep this process going. We'll just keep this thing rolling the same way it has been. They're not really aware themselves of the need for personal growth and development within themselves. Now, I've met some people, both prisoners and officers, COs, and administrators, that had very, very high levels of personal integrity. They were just, they were just decent people, good people. Yeah, I think so. I agree, Zeus. They need to make it, well, the First Step Act in the federal system, the First Step Act, and this is something that, there was a lot going on before the First Step Act was signed. From 2014 through, I would say, right up until it was signed in 2018, there was a lot of maneuverings. There was a lot of thinking that was going on about how to best address a system that was otherwise not having the results that it wanted. Yeah, it would help, Zeus. No, I keep in touch a little bit. Not me personally, because I can't, because of the conditions of my release, but through my wife, I keep in touch with one person that's still in the federal system. And, it's not that I don't want to or couldn't. Oh, man, Brad. Not the boxing oh, man. I remember when they took 1996. I remember when they came in and took the weights, and they said with the bags, because the heavy bag was my workout. I mean, I did some weight training and stuff too, but the heavy bag, that was my workout. That was my workout, man. And you know, we sparred, you know, at Leavenworth. We had a room upstairs on the third floor of the rec department, and unsupervised. We had a room in the gym behind the officer's office. We had a room back there, and you know, we could work out, we could spar, we could basically do what we wanted to do. But they said, okay, when the bags, when they wear out, they're gone. And the weights were gone in most places almost immediately. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that was the theory behind it. We don't want to create bigger, stronger criminals. We don't want to, you know, we don't want to encourage people to, you know, we certainly don't want to encourage them to train as boxers or martial artists, or, you know, they were, I've gotten multiple write-ups for early on for practicing martial arts. We had a great instructor at Leavenworth, called him the Master Blaster, and guy from North Carolina. And no, Zeus, you know, I've done a lot of both. So, you know, I really enjoy the bag work for a workout. There's nothing like it, in my view, in my opinion. And to me, it was always just a workout. The sparring and the training and everything, that was a little bit different because, you know, when you're in prison or jail, you're in a dangerous environment, man. I've seen guys get their face smashed into the bars. I've seen them get their brains knocked out with a fucking a metal mop wringer. I've seen guys thrown off the second tier. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that goes on. You know, guys that get hemmed up in their cell and 2-3 guys running in on them with shanks. Yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared to go. If, you know, yeah, it's, and, you know, if you can't be prepared to go if you don't train, if you don't work out and train, how are you prepared to protect yourself within a dangerous prison environment? You can't. You just can't do it. So, you know, you have to work out. But, you know, I was kind of, a little bit, I was brought up because my dad was a judo instructor. Yeah, phew. Tell me about it. Tell me about it, Zeus. Shoot. The sound my own head makes bouncing off a concrete floor, bouncing off a concrete wall, man. I had a plate in my head, titanium plate, because I had a, you know, kind of major skull fracture. And I got in a fight with this dude. You know, the old sucker punch deal. He was like, had all his buddies around, and then one of them said something off to the side, and I turned to address him, and this guy that I was originally beefing with, you know, just sucker punched me. But we went around, and he's trying to get me out of the cell. So, but first, you know, right after he sucker punched me, he grabbed me, and he grabbed my head and rammed it right into the door casing. So for a very long time, that plate had a big bend in it where I hit the edge of the door casing, and it made the corners of that plate come up. It made them like rise up, so that now whenever I had hit it, it's gone now, the plate's gone. But whenever I hit it against anything, even lightly, it would open it right up, you know, it'd just be a cut because it hit one of those sharp corners. But yeah, it's just, yeah, I probably should have, you know, I know better, man. You know, you can't, you know, it's just that, man, sometimes back in the day, I sometimes thought that I was like invincible. I thought until I started seeing guys getting stomped and beat and stabbed and really messed up. I mean, then I started thinking, man, maybe I'm not all that invincible. I mean, the smallest guy, the littlest guy in the joint can stick something straight through your heart, can stick a little shank straight through your heart when you're not looking and kill you. So it really, it dawned on me at a certain point that it wasn't about being tough. It was about being smart. And, I think it was a good lesson anyway for me, just as a starter lesson. Hey, Jack, why don't we try to be a little bit smarter rather than tougher? Because, you're not always going to win. And there's not much you can do when you've got 4 or 5, even 3. So, yeah, there's not much you can do, They get your hand up somewhere. But, those were the early days, and I was fresh into the system, and I was a fish, and I didn't really know anything about it. And I thought, man, I'm just going to stick to myself. I'm just going to do my own thing. But even early on, I knew that I wanted to do something different than just join up with prison politics. I knew that I didn't want to be caught up in the prison politics. That's one thing I knew very well, and just understood right off the bat. Nope, not me. Well, it's, I guess you become like, look at it this way, right? The Serengeti, you've got a herd of wildebeest, right? Big herd. They're just out there grazing. They're all just doing their thing, right? Just grazing. They're looking out of the corner of their eyes. And then you've got the lions, right? The whole pride is surrounding them and sneaking up on them, right, in the tall grass. And, they're twitching and getting ready to attack. And they just lunge, right? And all the wildebeest take off, right? They're just literally hoofing it, right? And, the lions are going to grab, the ones that they can get. The younger ones, the older ones, maybe they can't move so good anymore. But the other wildebeest, what are they saying? They're just glad it isn't them, right? They're just flat out hoofing it, saying, "Man, I'm glad that ain't me." And I think that's the way a lot of us go. A lot of that stuff was like, it was shocking, but it wasn't shocking because, after a while, you just get used to it. You're like, okay. It's not a pretty sight. It's not you think that things could be a little bit different. But that's reality, right? You've got to face reality as it exists, as it is, not some idealistic concept of how you wish things would be. So, you can go against the grain a little bit, but you really can't go against it all that much and not come out without, some kind of lumps on your head or whatever. But yeah, I took my lumps. I gave out some lumps too, but I took my lumps. But you can hardly avoid it, especially in the county jails. The county jails, really, the county jails I was in, 2 of them anyway, were worse than any penitentiary I was in. Yeah, for real. It was live. It was happening. I mean, the minute you step in that cell block, you got to be ready to go right then and there. And, you know, I was able to navigate this gauntlet. I was able to successfully navigate it. And, you know, it is what it is. I was able to do it. Yeah, county jail, Marsfield County Jail sucks. I mean, it sucks. Now, I've been in good county jails. I'd say good. None of them are really good, right? But, I mean, I've been in decent county jails where, you know, commissary was off the charts, and you had access to phone and tablets, and, oh yeah, I was never really in an FCI proper. You know, I just never made it to that security level. From day one, they had me pegged as maximum security. I mean, they wanted to put me to Marion right off the bat. They didn't, you know, if the marshals and the U.S. attorney out of Tampa had had their way, I would have went right straight to USP Marion. I wouldn't have even went to Leavenworth. But Leavenworth's a level 5. It was at that time. It was right next to Marion. So that was the last stop. But anyway, guys, my time is up. And I'll tell you what, it's been a real pleasure. I appreciate all of you. I'm hoping that we can continue to come back and meet and work together. And, you know, I'm hoping that we can just, you know, figure things out a little bit as we go along, or not. I mean, to just share some moments and have a little peace of mind and you know, just enjoy our friendships. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great week, everybody. And I will talk to you again with you next Tuesday. So yeah, you guys take it easy. Be cool, okay? Have fun. Have fun. Don't forget to have fun. Live your best lives now. Live your best lives now. Just in the moment. In the moment. Just grasp that moment when, you know, when it hits you and you just say, man, this is cool. This is nice. Just grab that moment and keep it as a treasure in your heart. Live your best life now. I'll see you guys later.